finally come for Seun after he made this secret video in a live show in Chinese television. You know, Seun is one of the Chinese television news presenter and he revealed a lot regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So Tinubu is in serious trouble at the moment because the secret video that Seun played in live television program today really sparked a lot of reactions in social media, and APC is in total panic right now because the video that Seun showed in the early hour of today exposed what Tinubu did with the 7 judges of the Supreme Court, how they come about the judgment to favor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and how they turn away Obi and ATIKU case in court, how they ignored the evidences of Peter Obi and ATIKU regarding the petition that was filed against Tinubu. Now they want Chinese television to take down this video. They want Chinese television to delete this video. So then I would like guys to share this video. If you can share to different social media platforms, let it go viral. And if you can share it, just do it to like it as you're watching it, give it a thumb up so that it will be recommended for us. But then stay connected. I'll come back again.
Welcome you back to LAJUPOG Watch TV.
I don't have bad news for you today.
The home of religious gossip.
And boy, you should leave the fight for Mohammed.
What is happening in the Christendom? Join now to make sense with LAJUPOG.
Hello my great and wonderful viewers, welcome back to LAJUPOG Watch TV. For those of you coming across this channel for the very first time, ensure you click the registration button appearing on your video screen and do well to click the notification bell icon so that whenever we drop a new video in fast time, YouTube will easily let you to know. Still on what is happening in the political zone, Seun have finally come out, after the Supreme Court made their ruling in favor of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A lot of people have gone to different media houses and different television programs to express their opinion regarding the ruling of the Supreme Court, because a lot of people believe that the Supreme Court perverted justice. Even with the evidences that were leveraged against Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Supreme Court ignored it. They ignored everything and they give justice to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even with all the things that was said that Tinubu did, the alleged Chicago State academic record that was forged and all of that, identity theft and Chicago drug record of Tinubu and all of that, everything that happened. The court ignored everything, but Seun have finally come out. Seun have finally come out to expose a lot of things regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu, how the Supreme Court collaborated with Tinubu and all of that, how the corruption rate of the Supreme Court is inflating or is going higher every day. Seun have finally listed out the names of the politicians that are in charge of this whole thing that makes all the ruling to be in favor of Tinubu, that made the Supreme Court to make everything in favor of Tinubu. Seun listed out their names. Seun play some video in this video. Don't worry, I'm going to show you everything. If you can stay connected to the end of this video, Seun play some video in this very video, and these videos are the video that they have wanted Chinese television to delete before now, but Chinese did not delete this video. Seun bring it up again and even included a new video that have not circulated online. So APC and Tinubu, they are in serious trouble at the moment and they really want Chinese television to take down this video. But before Chinese television take down this video, I would like guys to share this video. If you can share to different social media platforms, let it go viral. Let everybody come across this video. Their secret is finally out, and if you can share it, just like it, click the like button as you're watching it, give it a thumb up so that YouTube will recommend it for us. A lot of Nigerians are out there agitating that Tinubu must go. Even in the diaspora, there are a lot of protests ongoing in UK and all of that. They said Tinubu must go. The person that have not used up to a year in power, they're already crying that he should go. They're already tired of this man. A lot of people believe that Tinubu is imposed on Nigeria, even with the fact that the Supreme Court made their ruling and they made it in favor of Tinubu. It's against the will of the people. The will of the people is that justice must be made, and if justice is made, if the constitution is thoroughly followed, Tinubu will be impeached and he may even go to jail regarding all the things that he did to get into power and all of that. So the people of Nigeria are already tired. A lot of people are dying of hunger every day, and a lot of people cannot even afford 3 square meals. Graduates are finishing from school and they don't have a job and all of that. A lot of things are going down. Even the economy of Nigeria is in total crisis, and yet our politicians are riding in the best Range Rover, in best Land Cruiser all across Nigeria, spending billions of naira Nigerian money to buy cars for themselves, living a big luxury life and all of that. So Seun have hammered everything on the head. He hit the lane on the head. The video that Tinubu did not want to circulate have finally come to media. A lot of Nigerians are already saying it. A lot of people have reacted to the video. They said nothing must happen to Seun Okinbaloye of Chinese television because it is well believed that if something like this is being showcased, they will finally come for the person. They will surely come for the person. So they said nothing must happen to Seun Okinbaloye of Chinese television for exposing this whole thing regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu. 3 videos in just a single television program. Seun showed everything accordingly and he expresses and he buttresses his point with this very video. I said it in one of my videos. I said for us to remove corruption in Nigeria, we need to go to the grassroots, starting from the local government chairman level and all of that, and even to the judiciary level. It is not only the executive arm of government that is the problem of Nigeria. The judiciary are very corrupt. They are corrupt to the extent that justice cannot even be meant to the common man. They made us to realize the fact that the judicial system of Nigeria is not the last hope of the common man, but rather is showcasing the hopelessness state of Nigeria. But then before I show you what Seun Okinbaloye said and the video that Seun Okinbaloye released, now looking at your screen, I want to show you a particular speech that was meant by a prominent pastor in Nigeria. So this guy, Primate Ayodele, came out and he dashed a lot of insults to Peter Obi. You can see it on your video screen. He said Peter Obi is just wasting his money, that even in 2027 that Peter Obi cannot even win the election. He said Peter Obi did not have a space in the Nigeria presidency, that Peter Obi will not gain recognition in 2027 even as Peter Obi loses in 2023. So if he should waste his money to contest again in 2027, that he's going to lose again. Now these are the pastors that Peter Obi have been going to their churches campaigning during the campaign time and all of that. These are the pastors that have been saying that they gave Peter Obi their total backup. Now after everything, they want Tinubu to just favor them. They want Tinubu to just say that they are in his back, that they are against Obi, because they noticed that Obi did not win in the Supreme Court level because the Supreme Court perverted justice and all of them. Now all of them are now deflecting to the back of Tinubu. Now these are the pastors that we're talking about in Nigeria, and people are attending these people's church. So if you come out as bloggers and we're talking about all the evil deeds of these pastors, people will say that we are antichrist because we are talking about their wrongdoings and all of that. Now for a pastor should be saying this regarding a man that is diligent and upright, that shows that there is something wrong even in the religion level. It is not only the politicians that are the problem of Nigeria. The pastors, the religious level of Nigeria is one of the major problem of Nigeria. These religious leaders are the problem of Nigeria. They colonize the mind of their members against the good people of Nigeria and all of that. You can see what the pastor is saying in this video. This is totally absurd. Now drop an opinion regarding what this man said. Now I'm taking it down to what Seun Okinbaloye said.
You remember the judgment in the P&ID case and how that went in the United Kingdom. How did we even get to that point that even the judge in the United Kingdom says Nigeria was compromised by Nigerians to the extent that Nigeria would have paid up to $11 billion as compensation on a fraudulent contract? What kind of situation do we find ourselves as a people? So much that corruption has eaten so much into the fabric of our nation. Oh, this is a momentous period in our country, a turning point in the annals of the Nigerian judiciary as we bear witness to a moment of unwavering truth and justice. Justice Musa Dattijo, a towering figure in the legal world, has taken a stand against the pervasive issue of corruption within the Supreme Court and the broader Nigerian judiciary. In a statement that is as courageous as it is unprecedented, Justice Dattijo unveils a piercing examination of the challenges in corruption plaguing the very heart of our justice system, igniting a fire of reform and accountability. In Justice Musa Dattijo's groundbreaking statement, it dissects the corrosive influence of corruption within the hallowed chambers of the Supreme Court and the wider judiciary. Let me allow you to listen. The man was retiring, but before he left, he opened a can of worms in the judiciary and how the judiciary itself has immersed itself in corruption. That his old speech was published on Channels Television's website, channelstv.com. With a distinguished career spanning over decades, Justice Datijo brings unparalleled insight and unyielding commitment to transparency to this crucial discussion. His statement is a call to action, a fervent plea for reforms, and a statement to the resilience and dedication of those who seek to uphold the rule of law in Nigeria. His statement, however, reminds me of what Senator Tinubu said at the valedictory session of the 9th National Assembly. Take a listen to him again. I'll remind you of this.
Thank particularly my wife, whose freedom and independence I encroached upon while she was in office. And she has been very tolerant and accepted my encroachment and extended her help to my colleagues.
Distinguished, please, I don't think this is a good idea going this direction. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea, please.
Is he a statement of straight from the heart? A statement of a slip of tongue? Because there has been a lot of controversy about what Senator Bukachua said about his wife, who was in the bench before. So that on one hand, about what happened between his colleagues and how the kind of help they got from his wife. Now, I think that was not enough. It was another moment of honorable off your mic. Another statement on that same event it was curiosity. It was Senator Rocha Sokorocha who was speaking now to the Senate President at the time about how he's able to get back to the Senate. Listen to Senator Okorocha.
We shall all stand to say Nigeria is a great country. And to those of you who are colleagues, including you, Mr. Senate President, you know you're a very smart politician. How you came back is yet another political book to discuss.
Sorry?
I say how you came back is another chapter in our political history.
How I came back from where?
Mr. President, how you return to the Senate as a senator will open another chapter of great discussion in our political book. Because I was there in the field with you running for president. I never knew how you were able to meander and return and leaving some of us. Next time you must teach me how to do that.
It was easy. It was easy. I was there with you in the field, but after our defeat, my constituents thought they needed me again.
Justice Datijo did not go out of service without mentioning some of those cases he felt were cause for some scrutiny. But join us tonight. First and foremost, let's deal with that before we get into our main conversation tonight, as we delve into the profound implications of this statement, one that aims to reshape the future of the judiciary, ensuring that it stands as a beacon of impartiality and integrity for all Nigerians. I have tonight joining me a former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, who joins us virtually. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight. I don't want to be told that.
Thank you for having me.
I don't want to be told. The other day that I was cautioning you about the way you spoke and on the issue of corruption in the judiciary, and I have a feeling that when I speak it tonight, you will be laughing at me. You were grinning when I called you earlier to invite you on this program about what you said, and I was cautioning you. But because you're a member of the bar, you probably understand how far-reaching some of these issues are. Were you shocked by what Justice Dati just said?
No, sir.
So, in all what Justice Dati just said, how bad do you think? Was he able to speak to the extent of the kind of corruption you think exists in the judiciary? If there is corruption in the judiciary, thinking that it's even at the highest level of the holiest of the holies of Nigerian judiciary, the apex court, the Supreme Court, where we all bow to as the last hope of the masses.
Now, Sean, if I may, let me remind you, or remind all of us, or those who are watching, when he retired from the Supreme Court in 2004, that's nearly 20 years ago, the Honorable Justice Samson Owaifo, who is still alive, had complained that in the 70s and 80s, allegations of judicial corruption were confined to the magistracy, and that by the 90s, it had appeared to have climbed up to the High Court. And by the time he was retiring, he was afraid that it had got to the appellate level. He also said something else, that at the time he was leaving, people who did not present with the intellectual capabilities for success at the legal profession were being appointed to the judiciary at the High Court. And he feared that these inadequate people were going to rise to the cream of the appellate court system in a short time. In 2011, if you may remember, the story broke, two stories actually. One was the quarrel between the then president of the Court of Appeal and the then Chief Justice over allegations that the then Chief Justice sought to instruct the Court of Appeal as to how to decide the case relating to the dispute relating to the governorship election then in Sokoto State. That ultimately led to the firing of the president of the Court of Appeal, and the Chief Justice then retired under a cloud. In that same year, the then Speaker of the House of Representatives was credited in a cable transmitted by the American ambassador then of having told the American ambassador that the Supreme Court collected money to decide the appeal in respect of the 2007 presidential election. I'm not making this up. All of this is in writing. All of this is evidenced in writing. So I'm just telling you I'm giving you a tale of the tape. And so what the Honorable Justice Datijo Muhammad talked about basically reflects a trend that has itself been fully documented, and the timeline has been reflected in the history of remarks by retiring justices of the Supreme Court over the past 20 years.
Now, when I like to say this with all sense of modesty and all sense of loyalty and also sense of patriotism, that the courts are hallowed in every sense of the word, and the courts are indeed the last hope of the common man. That's where you can run for cover if you have any issue. In fact, any arms of God, the arms of government, they have issues, they go to the court for settlement. Without a court, our society will be in trouble, in chaos. But then, if this kind of thing is happening, and the kind of expose that we've seen about some corrupt judges, which some of their colleagues or some members of the bar have said, and some kind of insinuation and inference that have come up about corrupt judges, because there are corruption in every aspect of our lives, not only in Nigeria but everywhere. But where you do not want to hear that the corruption exists is in the courtroom. How do we deal with this?
Well, first of all, we deal with it by acknowledging it honestly. And I do not agree with you in the spirit of honesty that Nigerian courts today are the last hope of the common man or woman. If you had said the courts should be the last hope of the common person, I would agree.
Are things that bad, Prof?
Are they today the last
things that
hope?
Bad? Is it that our
Yes,
courts
sir.
not? We're not able to rely on our courts? Are things so bad within the bench?
Yes, they are. I'm not going to come here to lie to you. the courts should be the last hope of the common person. I will agree with you. Are Nigerian courts today the last hope of the common person? No, sir. We cannot be honest with ourselves if we cannot admit that the Chief Justice swearing in his son as High Court, appointing his son and swearing him in is a problem. We cannot be honest if we don't agree that the President of the Court of Appeal, sitting in the NJC, approving appointment for her son-in-law and approving appointment for the daughter is a problem. The least they can do is that when these things come up, they recuse themselves. Okay? That is the least they can do. Because being a judge is not a family inheritance. Being a judge is not a sexually transmitted condition. Husbands don't inseminate their wives with judgeships. Men don't inseminate their mistresses with judgeships in the bedroom. I am sorry. We have to be brutal with ourselves. This has got too far. And every time I say this, I get abused. But I'm going to insist on keep saying it because the stakes are too high. The issues are too important. Ordinary people are being ruined by this. And we cannot continue to pretend as if we don't know that this is a problem. Now we are hearing it from the judges themselves. So it's not rabble-rousers like me saying this anymore. And saying, now, I started saying this over nearly 25 years ago. I quarreled with Justice Egwuregbo because at that point, for those whose memories go that far back, Justice Egwuregbo, I kept pressing on his case and on his neck until he was retired compulsorily. But that was the beginning of the problem. Now we have an epidemic. And yes, it has got up to the Supreme Court. And we have to acknowledge that if you have a judicial system in which judges of the Supreme Court are saying that the Supreme Court is itself in a problem, then you have a credibility crisis. It can no longer be described as the last hope of the common man. We have to address it.
So now, I'm hoping to understand where are we going to start from. I was reading an article, and there's an excerpt from a professor of law, Agbomadaki, who said this. He said, law should be interpreted to serve justice. When justice is done according to law, it could lead to injustice because of the imperfections of the law. Professor Agbomadaki, I mean, that could be a jurisprudential argument in the areas of academics, but there are realities of the imperfections of our law. And I'm wondering, Professor Odinkalu, if you can give us a sense of how bad things are. For example, there are those who say they pay for judgment. There are those who say there are pre-conscripted judgment that are handed over to judges. Are those the case truly? Are these the realities? If you can mention 2 or 3 things, because an average citizen will say, why then do I need to go to court when I will not get justice? But what is justice in itself? When there are issues of technicality, is it allowed in law? If you follow the law and oppose justice, what is justice? What is law? What are those commonly perpetrated evil in the bench that we need to expose tonight?
Look, the NJC, over the 20-year period from 1999 to 2019, the NJC considered just under 1,000 petitions against judges, and the strike rate in terms of success rate was about just under 15%.
It's so sad. But quickly, Prof, there are issues of payment. I mean, Justice Adijah is saying that a registrar of the Supreme Court is earning more than him who is a judge or justice of the Supreme Court. In some way, imbalance, isn't it? I don't know how RAMFAC or how any agency of government calculated in such a way that the registrar is earning more than the judge of a very senior member of the bench. And another thing is, in fact, the CGN himself is saying there are just 10 judges left, justices of the Supreme Court left. What are we waiting for to appoint justices to the Supreme Court? They are already loaded with work, and I can't remember in the last 2 decades or so when we've had a fully complemented Supreme Court appointment at a time. I mean, there is always a deficit. Where do we go from here?
We have got to reform judicial appointments and reform them fast, very fast, urgently. Now, again, this is about politicians and their interests. In 2008, Justice Ogebe, who presided over the presidential petition, was quickly moved up to the Supreme Court. Decent man, honest man, great judicial record, but it set a bad precedent. And increasingly, judges who sit on presidential petitions are now moved up to the Supreme Court, which again builds into the system perverse incentives. And it is these perverse incentives that we have got to eliminate. The perverse incentives that appear to make it possible. Now, we are talking about how registrars of the Supreme Court earns more than justices. But the same registrars of the Supreme Court want to become judges and go to the High Court and then start climbing up. If that is not a perverse incentive, I don't know what is. Why would they want to become judges if they are earning more than the justices of the Supreme Court?
Well, again, there are South, East. They are not represented. That's one of the things Justice Dattijo also said. And he said that it portends bad for our judiciary.
Now, the circular here, Justice Sidibage resigned from the Supreme Court to become circular here in 2019. He has not been replaced nearly 5 years later, over 4 years later. What kind of system do we have? I can tell you the story of how it is that he has not been replaced, but we don't have the time here for it because the details are there for anyone who is interested in following judicial appointments in Nigeria. But the point is that we shouldn't be there. We should have a quick enough system, and partly I've got to regrettably say this is institutional laziness on the part of President Buhari, because there is no way you can have a situation in which in 2019 vacancies existed in the Supreme Court. 4 years later, after he left, those same vacancies still exist. He must take personal responsibility for his failure in this. We've got to call him out for his failure in ensuring that those appointments were made.
Just in about 30 seconds, Prof, to wrap up. The judicial reforms, I think most of it will fall on the table of the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, and the appointor is the President of the Federation, who will make suggestion to the CJN. Do you believe and do you think that these men will do right by Nigerians and their true conscience, make sure that our judiciary is rid of the kind of debts that we have wrought that has been described to have been now?
So it's not just men, it's also women. The president of the Court of Appeal is a woman. Her predecessor was a woman. And we have seen with certainly the immediate past president of the Court of Appeal allegations of improper behavior by her husband under cover of parliamentary immunity. So no gender is safe in this whole thing. We are all messed up, all right? So if we're going to fix this thing, the only thing I can say is that the judiciary is too important to be left to male or female judges alone and politicians. Citizens must take serious interest in what happens in the judiciary.
Thank you for staying connected, my great and wonderful viewers. You can hear what Seun Okinbaloye said in this very video. You can see the names of the people that he released in this video. Nigeria have been upside down. It's not even today. You know, he made mention of the name of that Senator Bukashoa that just left the Senate House some months ago and all of that. You can hear what that senator said, how he had been using his wife to manipulate judicial results and all of that. How the wife had been making ruling to the favor of APC people through the influence of this man to his wife and all of that. So that shows that this justice perversion have been in existence. It's not even today. It's not even during the Supreme Court ruling and all of that. These people have been perverting justice right from time. And he made mention of a lot of other people too. So that shows that what the Supreme Court ruled out a few days ago regarding what happened between Tinubu, Obi and ATIKU and all of that, even Shettima himself, INEC and APC as a whole, that shows that there is a negotiation with the Supreme Court judges and all of that, because this thing have been a game of APC APC people right from time. And what Seun did regarding how he exposed Bukashewa, and he played the video of some other senators in the House of Senate, how they have been doing their shenanigans as far as the judicial arm of government is concerned. A lot of Nigerian journalists always avoid it because they receive a lot of bullying from the politicians, so they never talk about it. Even you will notice that even when Bukashewa was trying to confess, and the confession that I was making in that very video was trying to tell the House of Senate that they should give him an accolade, or they should applaud him for doing everything possible for manipulating his wife as a judge to work in favor of his other senatorial colleagues and all of that. That shows that there's no amount of evidence that other people can actually take to court. If they should take the evidence to court, they will ignore the evidences as the Supreme Court judge ignored the evidences that Obi and ATIKU took to court, because the evidence that they took to court was very obvious. This is an obvious evidence of double nomination of Kashim Shettima. They ignored that of identity theft of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and even certificate forgery of Bola Tinubu, and all of that, and they ignored everything. Even the judgment did not even take long until they made the judgment within few space of some minutes, and they favored Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So this game has been a game that they've been playing in Nigeria right from time, and the same game is still what has been played even in the Supreme Court level. That shows that this level of corruption have been in existence. Is not even in this decade. It has been in existence in this judicial system of Nigeria right from time. They have been manipulating the judges in the name of bribery and all of that. If you do not have your money, it's a problem. You can't win case in Nigeria. They are meant us to realize the fact that the judiciary is not the last hope of the common man, because in some other countries like US and some other big countries like UK and all of that, the judicial system is the last hope of the common man there. There's no big man in court. There's nobody that is bigger than the law. There's nobody that is bigger than the country. But in Nigeria here, the judiciary have proved to us that they are not the last hope of the common man, whereas they are showcasing the hopelessness state of Nigeria. That's the thing. They are making the poor to know that they are hopeless in this country. There's nothing that they can do. They can't get justice. That's just the point. If you are not rich in Nigeria, the courts and the judicial system is not for you. You need to be very rich like the politicians before you can win cases in Nigeria, because if you don't have money to bribe the judges and all of that, you can't win the case. Not even bribing the lawyers and all of that. That is what is happening in Nigeria. I would like guys to drop a comment at the comment section of this video. Seun Okinbaloye, I've said it up. But let me now take you to the video that I displayed to you on your screen. That my screen recording where Primate Ayodele, a prominent Nigerian pastor, was saying that Obi should stop wasting his money, and he was even throwing an arrow of discouragement to the midst of obedience. He said if Obi should even make a run in 2027, that Obi cannot win the presidential election. He said Obi cannot gain recognition, and this pastor in question is one of the Nigerian pastors that are giving Peter Obi the go ahead when the election process just started. Then he was one of the pastors that was giving Peter Obi the go ahead. We are in your back and all of that. Obi go to their churches, and a lot of people welcome Obi, but at the end of the day, when they noticed that Obi did not win in the Supreme Court, because the Supreme Court, according to report, is the last stage of the court issues and all of that, when they noticed that Obi did not win, so he made a U-turn. Now, the statement that this guy made in that very video is the fact that he's pulling his support for Tinubu at the moment, because he said Obi should stop wasting his money, that he can never be the president of Nigeria. So these are the issues that we are relating to in Nigeria here, and I said it earlier when I said the judiciary and even the politicians of Nigeria, they are not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is the religion aspect of Nigeria. What our religious leaders are doing, they are the orchestrator of this whole nonsense that is going on in Nigeria. Many Nigerian pastors are gluten. They gluttenize. It is only where they see something to eat, that is where they poke their head. You can see how he made a U-turn and he began to attack Peter Obi at the moment. Drop your opinion in the comment section of this video. You can prove me wrong if you say that religion is not the problem of Nigeria. But don't forget, remember what Mbaka did during the campaign when Obi went to the church and Obi did not drop money and all of that, when it was personal Obi to drop money and Obi failed to drop money. You can see how he cost Obi. He said Obi can never see the presidential seat, and that is when they sent Father Mbaka out of the church and brought another person in Enugu until they replaced him again. That shows that many Nigerian pastors are gluten. They are all glutinized, looking for where to eat. They are the orchestrator of the problem of Nigeria. So drop up in the comment section of this video. What do you guys think? Feel free, just drop your opinions. I'm going under to get nothing for you. Ensure you follow me on my social media handles on Facebook at LAJUPOG TV and LAJUPOG Entertainment and on Instagram at LAJUPOG. Guess what, guys? See you in my next video. Bye.
I see the hot for my body, I say make I yarn you. Religious cause plenty day for body. Pastor with the line on top, the pastor. For LAJUPOG watch TV. Pastor with the bar, where politician with the do pass himself. All I